Hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Siddharth Zarabi, and with me today to discuss the earnings of the first quarter, Mr. N. Ganapathy Subramaniam, the Chief Operating Officer and Executive Director at TCS. Welcome to the show, Mr. Subramaniam. I'm going to start by recounting some of the key things in terms of the positives. Good deals of around $8.2 billion, including 2 mega deals. You've added clients, but attrition is up and there seems to be continuing decline in Europe. So the big picture of the earnings to start with.
Good morning, Siddharth. Pleasure connecting with you and your viewers today. Overall, we had a very good positive quarter, continuing the growth momentum that we had in the last financial year. A growth sequentially of about 3.5% in constant currency and a 15.5% in a year-on-year basis augurs well for the coming quarters and the financial year. Now, we've had a solid growth. The important thing to note is that the growth is broad-based. In terms of all the verticals grew in double digits. In fact, retail grew by about 25%. Banking financial services grew by about 19.5%. So, overall, we see a very positive outlook, positive momentum. And North America, actually grew really well for us. And Europe, while, we had a good run in the past in the Europe. And this year, this quarter also we have grown in Europe also positively. So overall, we believe that the deal momentum and the demand environment that we see and what we hear from our customers, all that means that we continue to stay positive and focused on capturing the demand that we see out there.
If we go sort of deeper into your results, it's clear that revenue growth has been in line with most expectations. There's a bit of I think, below expectations kind of view when it comes to margins and profits. What is the outlook on margins going forward? What do you see happening there, especially in light of higher attrition?
Yeah. So there are 2 or 3 points that I want to make on the margin front. In Q1, typically, we pay the salary hikes for all our employees, and we have got about 600,000 employees at the end of the last quarter. And that has an impact of about 150 basis points in the margin front. That's the first point. The second thing is that as we have won a large number of contracts last year, the last quarter, we clocked about $11.2 billion worth of total contract value. They all have to be executed, number one. And as we executed, we couldn't get some of our folks from India, who have work permits, etc., but we need to take the appointment from the embassies and travel. And they're all getting eased up, but still it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get an appointment in the visa and the embassies, for example, which essentially meant that we had to start those projects with some temporary staff, subcontracting arrangements with the local consultants, etc. So on that front, the costs have gone up, and consequently, the subcontracting and lateral hire costs have gone up during this quarter. But it's only a question of a temporary basis. So all that means that they're all pretty much the levers with which we will also employ those levers to optimize our operations in the coming quarters. So as a management team, we feel confident and we are focused towards getting back to 25% margin fairly quickly, and then work in a way that we reach our preferred margin band as soon as possible.
One quick aside from what you said on the visa issues, do you see a situation sort of changing and improving? And I'm kind of going out of your industry, but the shortage in chips, which has caused delays in the automotive segment, is the shortage of, or rather the long time for getting visas becoming an issue for the entire IT industry?
It used to be in the last, during the pandemic situation, the travels were not permitted. Plus, the visa situations were very poor. But then, it is certainly eased up. And the only thing is that there is so much of backlog. So the embassies take a lot of time to give appointments, and then, you have to come in the queue. And that's the current situation. And I think that should ease up in the next about 1 or 2 quarters as they try to bring more of their own staff into work and things like that, right? So semiconductor, yes, it's a shortage which affects many industries, right? Especially auto industry and telecom equipment industry and a few others. So they are constrained by the supply chain, and they are, some of those industries are first time they are trying to do their own business planning based on the supply side constraints as opposed to demand side positivities.
Since we are talking about demand, and you had touched upon that earlier also, what is the latest feedback that you are getting? Because the R word, the recession word is up in the air. We really don't know how it will pan out. But what are clients telling you across geographies?
It's a good question. And I think, in the last quarter, we have met with a number of our customers. We could travel to UK, we could travel to Europe, and as well as North America. Several of our customers also visited our development centers in India, elsewhere. So we would have met about 30 plus client executives. And we also polled in a number of our own senior client base. All of them agree that they all note with certain amount of caution the macro headwinds that economists point out. But the overarching feedback that we have got is that, number one, is most of them believe that technology is important for their business. It has become a staple. And in that context, they are not thinking of, let's say, shrinking any of their technology budgets or anything that they have already committed to us. That's the first point. The second thing is that they all said that, look, they have got, at least, some of them openly told us that I've got 10,000 job openings. I've got 5,000 openings, positions across the globe, which needs to be filled up. So which creates a situation that I think that technology, there's a realization that the technology is important for their business resilience and they being able to participate in the growth environment that they see in their customer base, right? So all that meant that, look, on the ground, what we see is continued demand for our products and services, continued demand for technology talent, and the fact that, they're all in a multi-year transformation journey, which is probably halfway through. They don't want to stop and go after some time. They would like to continue and then complete the transformation programs, which is fundamental to their own business.
Mr. Subramaniam, I wanted to take another broad theme up, which you spoke about right at the start with regard to costs. That was an employee count of 600,000. And I've been asking this question of all IT leaders like you in the recent past. How's the hiring outlook from a broader Indian economy and the youth who are looking forward to employment? There's been a bit of a issue, but I think we are now well past the pandemic. How is the future looking like?
Future looks good. I think, the technology talent is very important. And anyone we come across when we visit the campuses, universities, or meet with youngsters, whether virtually or physically, we continue to lay emphasis on the demand for technology skills across the industry and across the globe, right? So we encourage them to take up technology work. And then, take up training programs, either in the field of artificial intelligence, analytics, data sciences, microelectronics. So we continue to motivate them to and share with them the areas where we see growth, where we see skill gap, right? So from that perspective, I think, from our own perspective, we have said that, look, we will have a hiring target of about 40,000 for this year, freshers from the colleges, which we have committed to, and then we will definitely onboard them, right? Last year, we had a similar target, but then we went on to hire up to 100,000 freshers, right? So from our business, I think we have the ability to hire. We have as India, as well as some of the other places that we work with, we don't see a problem in hiring and attracting talent at the right cost structures that we want.
Certain skills. How is the supply side when it comes to the talent pipeline?
It's looking good, looking good. For example, we rolled out what we call as a national qualifier test, right? Almost 3 lakh students across India, and some of them from the neighboring countries are also all participated in the national qualifier test. Out of that, we shortlisted about 65,000 and then made 40,000 offers, right? So if you really look at it, what gives us that the database is that, look, we have got this 3 lakh employees. We exactly knew 3 lakh potential employees, where we exactly knew how they performed, which areas they performed well, which areas they didn't perform well. And we have gone back to many of them to say that, look, in these areas, you could take these 2 training programs. And if you clear those tests, maybe we'll be able to hire you, right? So those are the kind of, the databases and the opportunities that we have thanks to the digitalization that has happened in this country, right?
Right. 2 very quick questions before I let you go. And one is to do with what's happening to the rupee. How is that impacting, and what's your view as far as TCS is concerned?
I think rupee reaching about 79.80 was a bit unexpected, right? We thought that, we have had a fairly stable environment in about 74, 75. But then suddenly it hit 80. So which means it's actually, one, is it good for us, from that perspective. But then, rupee has also appreciated against other currencies, right? Whether it is a euro, and so there's a cross-currency headwind that we also see. Net, Forex will help in a kind of a situation where the employee costs are going up. It would help to neutralize some of this. But then, we should stay focused on the demand. We should stay focused on improving the pricing, improving the productivity, and other operational levers, which is what we typically do.
Since we started the conversation around your results, I have to close with a question that is related to shareholders. Overall markets sentiment turning down and markets falling. IT stocks have also had a bit of a rough time. What's your message to your shareholders at this point of time?
We are in a good wicket, and I think the growth momentum continues. We are very confident of continuing our growth trajectory and end the year with a double-digit growth. And the contracts that we have signed is good. The overall talent situation is good and will ease up in the coming 2 quarters, is what we hope and we believe so. So overall, it's a good environment to be operating in. We stay positive on the sector. We stay positive on our business and our clients' business.
All right, Mr. Subramaniam, thank you very much for your time with us today. Hope to see you again over the next quarter. Bye-bye, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Siddharth. You have a good day. Bye-bye.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe.